him out of the way. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping Hosana can cling to this area until such time as he's big enough. Cats, there are females that potentially would be in the area for him. I mean, we know Kuchava is here, but she's got a cub at the moment, so he's not going to be mating with her anytime soon, and that's really the only female that he will be able to worry about at this stage. We have a situation where he could possibly, Sabi might push further north. We might have other females arrive, but at this stage it's just Kuchava, and there's going to be interest from Tingana and quarantine there. And because she's got a cub, obviously she's not in any sort of estrus cycle whatsoever. So it's, at this stage he's also not really going to be in the situation where he's mating. There are males that have mated as young as 2.5, 3 years. The white dam male down in the south of the Sabi Sands, he's mated at a very young age, but I just don't see it with Hosana. I don't think he's right at that age yet where he can start mating and start actually looking for females to mate with. Also, theoretically, we don't really want him to be mating with Kuchava or Tandi at this stage, given that Tandi is his sister, effectively, same mother, and then Kuchava is Tandi's daughter. It's a little bit incestuous, so hopefully we won't have a situation where that happens. Hopefully he'll be able to dominate, and the likes of Shidulu and Sabui and those females come in, and he can mate with those instead. But it's going to be really interesting. We just don't know what the outcome of what's going to happen is. There's just too many variables at the moment to know who's going to be where. In a month's time, everything could be different, as it has been over the course of this year. It seems as though every month there's a new leopard that shows up. There's a different sort of way of things going. But Mrs. Grumpy, you suggesting a good female companion for Hosana to mate with would be Shidulu. I agree. I think Shidulu would be an epic one for Hosana to mate with. Be a very stocky leopard, that's for sure, that would come out of there. I still like the idea of Shidulu having cubs with Hukumuri, just from a point of view that it would be fun to have the chicken medicine and termite mound mate, and then we could have the two cubs called chicken mound and termite medicine, and then that would be perfect. So it could be Hukudulu and Shimuri. That would be the cubs. So 2 cubs is what she should have, and then we can have those 2. But obviously that's complete nonsense. We're just making it up, and the way things go. But I mean, look, I don't think Hosana is going to push that far west anytime soon. The last time he pushed quite far north and west into Djuma, he met with Hukumuri and obviously got chased. So I don't think we're going to see much of him with Shidulu. More likely him going towards Sabui, Kuchava, and then maybe any of the other leopards that occur in Torchwood. Oh, Paddy, depends. There's obviously times when both of those options are important, so strength and experience can be useful in both situations. So, I mean, obviously the stronger you are, the easier it is, but experience also helps. So you see smaller male leopards. If you look in Mala Mala, there was a time when we had, the bicycle crossing male and a couple of others, and the bicycle crossing male was not as big as maybe some of the others, and was still able to chase off and get rid of a lot of young males that came in that were potentially physically stronger. So it's sometimes all about kind of the attitude and the experience that they've had and the techniques that they've had. And Hukumuri is a prime example of this. He's just stood up to probably the biggest leopard that there is in the Sabi Sands currently, in the form of Anderson, and he's come out unscathed. So his attitude and his experience, which I'm sure Hukumuri's probably got more experience than all of the leopards that we've got in this area in terms of males, just given the amount of distance he's traveled, gives him an advantage from somebody like Hosana, who's never really had to fight, hasn't come across males that are very hostile towards him. So in his case, experience is going to be hugely important, even though he's not the biggest and strongest of the leopards that we have out here. So it just depends on the individual, depends on what leopards are around, and like I say, what sort of experience they've had in the last in their lives at that point. So we'll just have to kind of see how it goes. I think Hukumuri, though, is going to have a situation where he's not going to kind of be able to stand up to some of the younger males that might come through and that are bigger. So I believe a lot of you are enjoying the fact that we've come up with these. It was actually Ali that first came up with the Hukudulu and Shimuri kind of names, and like I say, it would be chicken medicine and termite no, what did I say? It was chicken, mound, and termite medicine. Is that what we said? Or chicken medicine and termite, I don't know, whatever. Either way, it's entertaining, and it would be very, very funny to kind of see. So I think chicken mound and termite medicine would be two cute little cubs from those two. So we'll just have to see how that goes and see whether or not that happens. I mean, I looked at Shaduli the other day. She doesn't look pregnant to me. She might be. She might only have one, but it really, if she mated when she did, which was early February, by now, I suppose that was the second mating. I'm always thinking of the mating in December, which would have shown by now. But maybe her second round of mating in February. It's possible, especially if she's only got one cub. You know, we're only a month into that, and so it's very difficult to see any signs at a month. It's normally around 2 months that you start to pick it up. And if we think of Tundi, when we started to see her, we kind of called that she was pregnant maybe a month out from her giving birth. It was the first time we noticed that she was pregnant. And so when it's one cub, it's difficult, and maybe Shadulu is pregnant, but it's very difficult to say at this stage. It doesn't look like it to me, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. She's not been in estrus cycles, and she's not really been mating much over the course of the last month, so maybe she is, and maybe she's kind of just not showing just yet, because normally with females, when they're at that age, they're young like that, they are often into their estrus cycles every 2 to 3 weeks and mating excessively to try and fall pregnant. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Right, well, little Hosana is napping. He's taking it very easy at the moment, and I don't know if we're going to see much movement from him, but we'll give it a bit longer. So while we do that, let's send you, I think, across to Brent and see what he's been up to.
Well, chatting about Shadulu, we're in an area where Shadulu likes to frequent, and so does Hukumuri. So maybe in this nice cool morning we might find one of them making it easy for us and just strolling down the road. In the meantime, while we keep checking this area, we can chat a little bit more about mythical beasts. Craig, do you know of any mythical African animals? No. Okay. So there's quite an interesting myth that permeates through quite a lot. Sorry, Herbie was talking about lions there. I just couldn't hear him clearly. But anyway, so it goes through quite a lot of the Nguni tribes, and that is of a great snake that lived in a hole in the ground. And this great snake was it was a god, actually, more than anything else. And it was a benevolent god. It possessed great wisdom and great healing powers. And the story goes as the great chief became very ill, and he had 4 sons, and he sent the 4 sons to see the great snake to get some medicine to help him. And the first and eldest son went, and the snake gave him the medicine and said, "You must be very careful. You cannot spill a drop, otherwise it won't work. And you must just be careful." And he said, "There will be many trials and tribulations on your trip back to your father." And off he went with the medicine, and a male lion popped out of the bush, and he got a fright, and he spilt the medicine everywhere. And he came back crying to his father that he had failed, and the second son went. Same story, trials, tribulations. A black mamba reared out of the grass, spilt all the medicine. And also the snake said, "You can't come back once you've been." And then the third son was nowhere to be found. So the fourth son went. Same story, trials and tribulations and whatnot, and was tripped up by the third son. And then the third son went and tried to kill the great snake, and the great snake decided that human beings were evil and just shut up shop, and the chief died. And it turned out the third son had been poisoning his father to try remove him, and then he had planned to poison his brothers. So the great knowledge and healing powers that the snake held are now lost to the human race forever. Well, that's quite a common one. It stems through quite a lot of Africa. Various different versions of that one. One of my favorite ones comes from just north of here, in Venda, the land of Mujaji, the Rain Queen. And there's a lake there called Lake Fundunduzi. And it is a very sacred lake. You can't film it. You've got to get special permission to even go near it. And it's said that there are evil water sprites that live in that lake. And there lots of different sacrifices are made to Mujaji, the Rain Queen, and to the water sprites and stuff in that lake. Now, the water sprites have long, sharp canines that rip people's throats out. But they are half day and half night. So if you look straight on to the lake during the daytime, they approach you with their day side that mimics the day, and they kill you and drink your blood. And if you approach and look at the lake during night, they approach you with their night side that mimics the night, and they kill you and drink your blood. So when you go to give your sacrifice or pay homage or whatnot at Lake Fundunduzi, there's only one way, and this is not a joke, this is true, that you are allowed to look at Lake Fundunduzi. And I'm going to show you, but it is quite ridiculous. So you're supposed to walk up to the lake like this, not looking at it, and then the water sprites will leave you alone. And once you get and you want to look at the lake, you actually have to look through your legs. And then it is said you can see the cut between the day and nights of the water sprites, so you could kill them if they came up to you. So you don't, and so they don't. There's a lot of really, really cool folklore from Venda, which is some of it's quite fantastical. So it's actually a very interesting story that. And the Venda also have the folklore about giants. Now, the area where the Venda live, north of here, is proper baobab country. There are many, many, many baobabs. And it is said that they are sleeping giants, and if they're ever awoken, they will wipe out people. So I think it's quite a story quite often used to scare small children into behaving, like lots of folklores originally were, Red Riding Hood, etc. So yeah, so there's quite a lot of interesting folklores around. I was trying to remember another one of my favorites. Now, of course, there's a lot of folklores that rely solely on animals, not only on people. But while Hosana's head's up, let's go have a look at him.
Well, his head is up because decided to groom himself, and you can see his duiker carcass is actually in there. He's about to start playing with it. So he's got 1 foot on the tree, 1 foot on the carcass, and what he's doing, I have absolutely no idea. It almost looks like Brent trying to look between his legs at the moment. So it's infectious, apparently, between our animals. But Brent is also bouncing around and contorting himself into interesting ways, and so is Hosana. And Hosana's going to play with his carcass now. He's decided, it's time, I want to play around with my duiker. Interesting as well is what happened was we had a situation where the male duiker actually came back here. So I think this is a female duiker that he's got over here, and I'll be interested to see if I'm right. And the reason why I'm interested to see is because often you'll see with duiker when there's kind of one that is killed, because they're monogamous, the other one actually comes looking for it, and very common they actually get killed together, which is pretty weird. I know Tundi used to be a big exponent of that. She used to hunt families of duiker often on Chitwa, and so I think the male came looking for the female and spotted Hosana and then ran away as quick as possible. But he seems like he's rested long enough now, and now he's going to get into playful mode where he's going to pull his duiker carcass around. There we go. You see, it is a female. It doesn't have horns. You see that? So that's why the male was here, is looking for his mate, unfortunately, which is very, very sad. And it just goes to show how tight that bond is between these monogamous antelope species. You would think when one gets killed that they would just run away and leave it, much like what you see from things like impalas and the likes. But as you can see with duiker and steenbok, they often do come back and try and kind of see if the mate is around. It is kind of sad, isn't it, Westy? But anyway, like I say, it's nature. It's the way things go out here. And I suppose Hosana's got to eat. The thing is, his belly is absolutely massive already. And it looks like he's hardly eaten this diker. So I wonder if he didn't have another kill already. Sometimes what you'll find also when they feed off things like this is that they have killed the baby and then the mother as well. And then so maybe he's eaten the young one and now he's eating the mother of this particular individual. We'll see now. I mean, he's looking up into the tree again. Maybe he's going to play around and take the carcass up into a tree. We know he's a playful cat, so sometimes he gets these kind of moments where he wants to play around, and especially when you've got a situation when it's cool weather like this, he often is very playful. Isn't he a beautiful boy, though? His teeth are very white, but it's because he's young. So he's only, like I say, he's only just gone 2. So his teeth are still very, very white in coloration. They obviously will yellow as he goes. And if you compare it, what are you doing, Hosana? Now he's on his back trying to, I don't know what he's up to. This cat is hilarious. What are you doing, boy? Now there's a stick on your head. Now what? Can see that even though he's gotten big and he's kind of growing up and he's doing adult things, there's still this youthful side to Hosana, and where he plays around with branches like this. What are you doing, boy? Now paws are in the air, and on his back he looks about as comfortable as possible. It really is kind of another story of this cat. And you can see how white their tummies are. You often forget just how white a leopard's tummy is, and when they lie like this, it's actually quite easy to spot them because of how bright they are in the long grass. As soon as he rolls over the other way, it becomes a lot harder to see. So that beige coloration as opposed to white blends in a lot better. But there we go. That is a leopard in total recline. I suppose it is a Monday morning, so he's welcome to have a little bed rest, and especially in conditions like this. What are you doing? Wisteria, I don't know. I mean, he's a bit of an anomaly. You see Tumba doesn't really spend much time around Tingana. You don't see many other male leopards doing these kind of things. So the fact that he's following Tingana around, I have no idea why he's doing it. Could be that he lost his mom early. Could be that he just craves company. It also could be a situation where he knows that Tingana often is a safety point, and he's a curious cat. I mean, it's not like he doesn't only approach Tingana, he approaches everybody. He approached even Hukamuri. He literally walked straight towards him, so he just almost is like he wants to kind of investigate and see who are all these other people that look like me, or other leopards that look like me. I want to go and try and kind of see everybody and make as many friends as possible. So he's just a curious cat. It's the same as him following around all kinds of other animals that we've seen him follow. In the case of buffalo, that's a little bit different. He's learnt that potentially following around buffalo can result in food, and that's why he's following them around. But with other things, I think it's just more curiosity than anything else that he wants to go and investigate. It's very impossible to say. It's a question where we just will never know. Had Kruger not disappeared, would he be the same way as he is now? No idea. In terms of an investigative cat, he always was. Even as a little cub, he was one that was quite active and went and saw things and practiced hunting and chasing, and so I think he'd still be a very effective hunter, but whether or not he would have the same demeanor, I have no idea. It's, like I say, impossible to tell. But isn't that awesome to see? Right, well, Hosana is kind of in between phases now of playing and being awake, and so we'll sit with him for 5 more minutes, see what he gets up to, because there are others that want to come in this area, and if he does get up, we'll stay a little longer. But while we do that, let's send you back across to Steve, who's managed to find some rather large kitty tracks.
We have indeed. We were walking along, and we're in the Mawati drainage now, and here is the track of the young male lion. You can see how far out those toes are. It's quite a big track. It is in the soft sand, which makes it a bit bigger. But these are extremely fresh, extremely fresh. They've come this way and they've turned around again, And we're going to keep going up this road here, following the track, see if we can find them. I've got a feeling they might be quite close by the activity. Who knows? We could be in luck. Are you feeling lucky? I'm feeling lucky. Is that the Dirty Harry movie? So let's keep heading up here. They've just moved up. This is a road coming out of the Mawati called Battalier, kind of a spaghetti junction, kind of right in the middle. Okay, well, we don't have great signal, so we're going to go back over to that beautiful cat, Hosana.
Well, hopefully they'll find a way to get a better signal, but Hosana, as you can see, has gone into a position of recline, and I've seen this pose somewhere else before. I must try and see if I can find a photo of it, but Brent Leo Smith on the couch at Inga's when watching rugby, and then he finishes watching rugby and falls asleep. This is pretty much what it looks like, just sprawled out over the couch. I once took a photo of it, but it was many, many moons ago, and I don't know if I've still got it. I'll have to have a look just now, but it's very funny when Brent falls asleep on the couch, because he just gets kind of exactly the same way. He's just on his back and there's just limbs everywhere. Brent's not a small person, and the couch is not very big either, so it's always funny to watch. But anyway, let's send you back across to Steve. I think he's got better signal now.
We have, and look at what we found, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the Nkuhuma Pride on foot. You might not have the best visual from where you are now. We're to go a little bit further forward. Keep your eyes peeled. We're going to keep very quiet. I can see them. Just going to walk up there. Hopefully they don't get angry at us. I'm sure they'll be fine. They are quite a relaxed pride on foot, but we're going to be very quiet for the next minute. Come here, Ferg. Can you see them? This is fantastic. We've got lions on foot again. Now that is the beauty about tracking and understanding the freshness of tracks. And those tracks were very, very fresh. We did a bit of a loop around over here. And there they are. Looks like one of the youngsters looking at us. And they're probably about 1 kilometer or 2 south from where I left them last night. And they're looking at me and wondering if I'm food. It is quite an amazing feeling. So it is probably one of my favorite things to find on foot is lions, and having an expert like Herbie around didn't take us very long at all. Not far from where Herbie and I found them last time, Herbs? A little bit further east from here. But they love coming in and out of this drainage system. Yeah, super excited, super excited. Everyone's excited as myself and Herbie, and hopefully Ferg is able to hold the camera steady. Look at that, she's looking at us now. Head is up. I can only see 2. Herbie can see a 3rd one. But that's fine. This is what Lions on Foot is all about. It's not about getting close. It's not about getting a reaction. It's about viewing them from a safe distance where we're not going to negatively influence them anyway. So, Franklin alarm calling behind us. So Herbie's just keeping an eye on them and on these lions. Doesn't matter how many times you do this, folks. The heart rate always increases by a huge beat. Staring down the largest carnivore on the African continent with my stick. Here we go. Relaxed again. Absolutely marvelous. How's the visual there, Ferg? Do you want to come up a bit closer here, Ferg? Victoria, you are excited and you would be terrified, but with people like myself and Herbie, it would make you feel right at home. But the beautiful thing about being in this situation is that I'm not thinking about anything else. You're in the moment. It brings you straight into the moment, into the present. It's just the breath, it's the sounds, it's the smells. Nothing else is on the mind at all. And that is what's beautiful about being in the bush. You don't even have to see these guys, but the anticipation of seeing a dangerous animal afoot does something for the human spirit. This is where we as humans evolved. This is where we as humans spread ourselves out onto the world stage on the African continent, in the savannah, with lions, with elephant. And to see them this close up, we're probably about 35, 40 yards from them at the moment, is always, always awe-inspiring for me. How's everybody feeling at home? This is fantastic. Are you good, Herbie? Yeah. Hey? He's completely relaxed. This is like second nature to him. Look at that. Chilled as a cucumber. Or is it as cool as a cucumber? I forget. But that is the marvelous thing, folks. Is I can only see two. Herbie can see a third one. But we know for sure, just because the Nkuhuma Pride is always together, that all 11 individuals are somewhere there in the long grass. And the visibility of them is not great. But this is fine. Brent is on his way here. He's going to be able to get up a much closer and much more in personal space with them, because they're much more relaxed to the vehicle. And for me, it's awesome because last night you saw how close we were to the Pride themselves and how they were very close to the Pride, or to the vehicle. And now we're 40, 50 meters from there, 40 times the distance. But the sensations coursing through me are far different, far more wild, far more real. And if you ever want a true African experience, you need to get out on foot. Laura, it's quite easy, actually, how we exit from a place like this, is that we would just go back. Just back the way we came. We know where the danger is. We know where the lions potentially are. So if we wanted to leave here, we would just sort of back up and go back the way we came. To just go trudging through there is just unethical. We'll probably chase the lions away. Okay, so apparently Nix is saying that we're looking at the oldest female. She's the one with the wound on her rump. All I can see is two sets of ears. Couldn't tell you an individual from this distance. Apparently Ferg's managing to capture the moment. How's the steady hands there, Ferg? Going well. He's concentrating, folks. I'll stop talking to him. So that they're still looking quite interested. You know, I mean, they're up. They're paying attention to us. I wonder how far that kudu went between them last night. At the end, when they started finishing the kudu, there wasn't too much in the way of aggression that you normally see when a kill gets too small. Here comes another lion into the frame from the side. That's marvelous. So we've seen at least 4 now. So that's just made my week. Thanks, Herbie. Very cool. Lions on foot is something that, if you've never done it before, it's something very, very worthwhile doing. I mean, the objective, and it's something I always used to say on my trails, is that it's not about getting close. We're not that close, but the feeling here, there's no protection around us at all. So Good morning and a very warm welcome to you all from wherever you may be in the world. We are coming to you live from Djuma in the Sabi Sands, South Africa, where we have just found ourselves a pride of lions on foot. My name is Steve Falconbridge, and I'm joined by the very steady-handed Fergus, who's managing to do a very good job of looking at these lions with the camera. Let's go back to them, and they're just lying up over there. Please feel free to send through your comments just below in the stream. Let us know what you think about this, your questions. This is the Nkuhuma Pride. We had them last night. They killed a kudu further north from where we are right now. This is very exciting. They're about 2 kilometers south from where we had them. We were walking along. We found their tracks in the river drainage depression. We did a bit of a loop this way and that way with the expert help of my very good friend here, Herbie, and we found them within about 3 to 4 minutes of the attempted tracking. So that is absolutely fantastic to be able to see these guys on foot, and this is live, ladies and gentlemen. These are wild lions, and they're about 30 to 40 meters away from us right now. Kathy, our absolute pleasure for going live. This is what we live for, and we're super excited we're able to share this with you, sitting at home or wherever you may be. The lions are looking at us quite intently for a moment, but now they're looking all over the place. They seem to be quite relaxed. Gary and Craig from Australia, welcome to the show. Let us know what you think about all of this. These are wild lions, folks, and my heart is pumping in my chest. Jesse, this is potentially quite dangerous, but we are a safe distance away. We are with an expert by the name of Herbie. He does have a rifle in case of any emergencies, but we are walking as if we don't have a rifle. We're keeping very low our voices. We will not turn our back, and we will not go closer than this to influence their behavior. They are quite relaxed. If the lions happen to go down flat and their ears go flat, then you know that you're causing them some discomfort. But we're a safe distance away. If they did start showing us any warning signs, we'd immediately reverse and back out with keeping our eyes focused on them. You can see that their heads are starting to go down. They are not too concerned with our presence at the moment. RJ, we are being very careful, but thank you for the concern. It is one of the highlights of being in the African wilderness is the potential to walk and to encounter the biggest carnivore on the African continent on foot. There is something very special to be said about this kind of interaction. And there they go. They've gone back to sleep. We clearly are of absolutely no interest to them whatsoever. Maybe we can creep up a couple meters, Herbie. We're just going to go a little bit closer. Ferg's going to keep his eye peeled on these lions. Let's see if we can get just a little bit closer. Fergus is doing a sterling job of holding that camera. And Jana, the Nkuhuma Pride, has got 11 lions, 5 adult females, and then 6 youngsters. One of them is a male. They're about between the ages of 14 months and 17 months, so to speak. There we go. That youngster's got its head up again. There we go, Fergie. That head is up again, giving us a little stare down. How beautiful is that? Good job, Fergus. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone out there watching, people from California, South Dakota, New Zealand, so fantastic you're here watching with us. Remember, this is absolutely live, and if you'd like to continue watching, please, we are still live on Safari Live, so please Google us, keep watching the show. We'd love to have your support, and on that note, have a fantastic morning. You're all back with us, folks. So before Fergus's arm falls off and before anything else happens, we're going to go back over to Tristan Dix, who'll be back with us shortly.
Well done, guys, on finding the lions. They obviously had moved down towards the Milwaukee, and with the signal issues on the vehicles, it's not an area that we can check very often at all. So Peter's saying goodbye to me at the moment. So Peter just left the sighting, so he's just saying goodbye. Peter's full of the joys of life this morning. He's being very naughty on the other car and trying to make me smile and miss a beat while I'm talking to all of you. But we've got this down pat. It's not the first time that other guides have been like this. But Hosana is, as you can see, not really been up to much. He's catching flies now, as he does. But I think he's going to have a bit of a nap. He's got his kill right there. He doesn't really need to go anywhere. So we're probably going to make way for some others and give everybody else a chance to come and have a little look at what's going on. But definitely got a lot of meat still there. He's going to be here for sure for the next day at least. And if he's not here, Tingana will be here. One of the two of them will be on this kill over the course of the next little bit. But we're going to head out. Like I say, we'll give some others a chance because also there's not very much space to actually see him. So if we move back, then it allows everyone else a better chance of seeing what's going on. So I just want to try and reverse back here. But it's amazing the camouflage of these leopards and how they can kind of blend in. If you didn't know that he was here, I can guarantee you 90% of people would drive right past that cat. Anyway, as we go off, let's send you back across to Brent, see if he's maybe had any luck with Hukumuri or Shadulu, and see if there's any sign of them on that side of the world.
Well, we've caught up with Steve and Herbie and Fergus, and just through that gap there is where the lions are. It looks like one or two of them might have spotted Fergus's aerial. You can see that one is looking quite intently at Ferg's aerial, but we're going to let the bushwalk team have a chance to move out of here safely. There we go, and we're going to go have a closer look at the lions. Well done, guys. Oh, they walked far from... So they've, from where we looked for them this morning, they've come out on top of our tracks, and they've now probably covered about 2 or 3 Ks. Okay, look at this. Isn't this wonderful? Hello, Oompa Loompas. So let's see. Hi, guys. See, now Craig was telling me it looked like one of the lionesses had a bit of an injury. So try to see if we can find her. Oh, they are looking a lot better than the last time I saw them. The last time I saw them, they were very skinny and looking a bit bedraggled. At the moment, they're looking like very happy, healthy lions. So we've surrounded ourselves with them. So we've got the majority of the pride sitting up there. There's one of the big girls. There's another lioness walking towards her at the moment, Craig, so it's just a little stretch. And they are looking very happy. Come on, pop out from behind the bush. I just want to see. You can see the females aren't too fat at the moment. So I said it didn't look like the biggest kudu they ate last night. I see, is that the one with the injury? Doesn't look like it. We got some very happy looking sub-adults there all around us. And the ones to the left here look particularly happy. There's a little boy. Oh, he's having a little stretch. Now, he was quite brave during the whole fight yesterday, roaring and running around, behaving like he was twice his size. As you can see, the cubs have had a lot more to eat. Look at those bellies. Now, where are you off to, mister? Where's this little male off to? He's going to go head off to the rest of the pride. Now, Bushwalk, of course, was quite close to these lions on foot, and Andy, the danger isn't really from the lions you can't see. During the day, lions have a very healthy respect for human beings being the dominant diurnal predator, and they will actually try avoid or run away from human beings, mostly. And the Bushwalk guys were safe enough distance that the lions didn't feel threatened, so they didn't feel the need to either run away or growl or charge. Now, most of the times when a lion charges, it makes a lot of noise, and in doing that, it's saying, "You guys are too close, go away," but they don't really want to get into a fight. They're instinctively scared of human beings during the day. At night, however, is a completely different story, and they would definitely try munch upon you. Oh, next fatty's up. A little scratch. A big lioness, Lara, next to me at the shoulder would probably be just below my hip. At the shoulder, head probably just above my hip. A big lioness can weigh as much as 120, 125 kilograms. You're off to go see the rest of the pride as well, with those wobbly bellies. Now, the last time I saw them, they were looking in not the best condition, very hungry, very skinny. Well, they got a few nicks and scratches, as you can see, but they are looking far, far better than when I last caught up with the Nkuhumas. Seems like they're really enjoying kudu at the moment, with the lack of buffalo around. They're probably not going to move too far today with those full bellies, but they might hunt again this evening. Now, oh, sorry, Craig. Now, of course, this little male, he's not too old at the moment. He's hiding there in the thickets, eating some grass. Carol, he'll hang around as long as possible, basically. So normally to about 2.5, 3 years old. 3 years old, normally they get the boot. But it's with the Birminghams possibly not spending nearly as much time here going forward, he might hang around a little bit longer. He might get lucky. But the females will tolerate him for a certain amount of time. They do tend to get a little bit aggressive when their sons or nephews start trying to mate with them, but it does happen. Especially if no other male lions move into this area and he's able to hang around till he's 4 or 5. But that's very unlikely that we would get no new males if the Birminghams decided not to spend as much time here. Now, the Vokers would definitely try claim this pride, Breezy, if the B-boys decided not to come back. However, the problem is they would probably kill all the sub-adults at this stage. The females probably need another year or two to really get to a stage where the males would ignore them. The young male, however, would have to leave regardless. The Vokers would definitely try remove him from the equation completely. Oh, there we go. We got some movement again. Some little bit of grooming. Oh, flop down on top of each other. Look at that. Lovely little playing there. Practicing that suffocation hold. Oh, isn't that sweet? Still going for this the suffocation hold, but not very seriously. Oh, isn't this cute? Now, lions are not the nicest smelling things in the world, Dean. Fortunately, at the moment, after the rain last night, they don't smell too bad, but they are smelly creatures. They eat carrion, they eat rotting meat, they're predators. Yes, they're not the nicest smelling creatures you're going to come across in the bush. Now, there's quite a lot of interesting debate and research into do female lions prefer males with dark manes, which is what Baobab is asking. As a general rule, it seems to be darker maned males have more testosterone, so are slightly more dominant. But again, that all depends on whether that male's been in a fight and injured, and one of the blonder males haven't. So they can also usurp the darker males as the dominant in the coalition. The male lion coalition is a constant seesaw of dominance, but in sort of controlled captive environments, it seems like lionesses prefer males with dark manes. In wild environments, it doesn't really seem to happen, because sometimes you've just got to mate so as not to get beaten up. So I said it all depends on the situation. Now, lovely to have Hosana and the Nkuhumas still on the property, and hopefully they wouldn't have moved too far for tonight's sunset safari, so I'm sure one of us will be back to see what they get up to. But from all of us here at Safari Live, see you in a few short hours for lions and leopards galore.